Would you attend a concert where the audience never leaves? In the heart of a forgotten city lies a concert hall that plays one final deadly song for its guests, and not everyone comes out alive. It was the talk of the city, an exclusive invitation to the Midnight Reverie, a one-night-only performance by the infamous violinist Adrienne Gray. Adrienne had vanished decades ago under mysterious circumstances, but her haunting music still echoed in whispered tales and forbidden recordings. When flyers for her final performance mysteriously appeared overnight, people brushed them off as a prank. But then invitations arrived in the mail, personalized and embossed with a date, a time, and a location. The Palladium. The Palladium had been abandoned for years. Once the pride of the city's cultural scene, it was now a decayed relic, shrouded in rumors of a fire that claimed dozens of lives during Adrienne's last performance. Yet, curiosity outweighed caution, and by the time the clock struck 11:30 p.m., the grand hall was packed. The Palladium stood like a rotting corpse in the moonlight, its once grand marquee flickering weakly. Guests filed into the crumbling theater, their footsteps muffled by torn velvet carpets. The chandeliers above swung slightly, though there was no breeze. Inside, the air felt thick and cold, carrying the faint scent of smoke and something metallic. The walls were lined with faded portraits of past performers, their faces strangely lifelike, their eyes seeming to follow every movement. Among the crowd was Claire, a young journalist looking for her next big story. She had heard the whispers about Adrienne Gray and hoped this event would be her breakthrough. Her cameraman, Sam, followed reluctantly, muttering about how creepy the place felt. "This is just an urban legend," Claire said confidently, though she couldn't shake the unease that prickled at her skin. At exactly 11:59 p.m., the lights dimmed. A hush fell over the audience as the tattered curtains creaked open, revealing Adrienne Gray. She looked otherworldly, her pale skin almost glowing, her black gown flowing like liquid shadow. Her violin shimmered unnaturally, as if alive. When she lifted the bow, the room held its breath. The first note struck like a knife. It wasn't music. It was something deeper, something that reached into the marrow of your bones and pulled at your very soul. Claire felt a chill crawl down her spine. She glanced around and noticed something horrifying. The audience wasn't moving. Their eyes were fixed on Adrienne, their expressions slack, their lips moving faintly as if singing along. Sam nudged her. "This isn't right," he whispered, his voice trembling. The music grew louder, faster. Shadows danced across the walls, twisting into grotesque shapes. Claire swore she saw one of the shadows step off the wall, its form becoming more solid, more menacing. Suddenly, one of the chandeliers shattered, its crystals raining down like shards of ice. Adrienne didn't flinch. Her eyes remained fixed on the audience, her fingers moving with inhuman precision. Claire pulled out her phone to record, but the screen flickered and went black. A faint voice crackled through the static. "Run while you can." The shadows began to take shape, figures in formal attire with hollow eyes and twisted smiles. They moved through the aisles, their feet never touching the ground, their movements jerky and unnatural. Claire grabbed Sam's arm. "We need to get out of here," she whispered. But when they turned toward the exit, they found the doors locked. Desperate for answers, Claire and Sam bolted backstage. The air grew colder and the corridors seemed to stretch endlessly. They passed rooms filled with old costumes and shattered instruments, all untouched by time. In Adrienne's dressing room, they found a journal hidden beneath a cracked mirror. The pages were yellowed and brittle, but the writing was clear. Adrienne had written about her deal with a mysterious benefactor who promised her eternal fame. In return, her music would demand something far darker: souls. The journal ended with a chilling line. When the final encore is played, the audience joins the symphony forever. A sudden crash pulled their attention back to the stage. The music had stopped, replaced by an eerie silence. Claire and Sam crept back to the main hall. The audience was gone. The seats were empty, but the air buzzed with an unnatural energy. Adrienne stood alone on the stage, her violin resting at her side, her hollow eyes glowing faintly. "You shouldn't have come," she whispered, her voice echoing as if 100 voices spoke with her. Shadows began to pour from the walls, their forms growing more solid. Claire screamed as one lunged toward her, its skeletal fingers grazing her arm. Sam swung his camera like a weapon, but it passed through the shadow harmlessly. Adrienne lifted her violin once more. "The music demands more," she said, her voice emotionless. Desperate, Claire remembered the journal. She grabbed one of the candelabras lining the aisle and swung it toward Adrienne. The flame caught her gown, and for a moment, Adrienne faltered. The shadows screamed as the fire spread. The violin let out a final, piercing note before shattering into 1,000 splinters. Adrienne collapsed, her body dissolving into ash as the shadows retreated. The theater groaned as if alive, its walls crumbling. Claire and Sam ran, barely escaping as the building collapsed into a smoldering ruin. When they reached safety, Claire looked back. The Palladium was gone, reduced to nothing but ashes. But something was wrong. Her arm burned where the shadow had touched her. When she rolled up her sleeve, she saw a faint, glowing mark. A music note. That night, as she reviewed the footage, her screen flickered. Adrienne's face appeared, smiling. A single whisper echoed through her speakers. "You're next. Some music never dies. It haunts. Would you dare to attend the final encore?"